Lighting in TF2 contributes a ton to its art style. Without lighting, the depth of the image and a part of the core visual design of the game is gone. That's why you can't really alter the lighting settings in the graphics menu, it's just too important to the visual identity of the game. However, this hasn't stopped people from changing the lighting quality with the console commands. For example, Master Config offers modules that control the lighting quality in the game. Now, I'm not gonna explain all the technical details in the lighting of TF2, that's because when I was researching for this topic, I found this.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Okay, so there's no way in hell that I can understand what those symbols mean, and there are simply too many commands for me to go through one by one. I'm just gonna do a comparison between the highest and lowest lighting preset to keep the video simple. I'm also gonna be focusing on the gameplay impact of these settings because a lot of them are pretty technical and I'm not really smart enough to understand them all. Let's talk about the very low preset first. In brightly lit areas, the map actually looks alright. Baked-in shadows are still present to make the environment more immersive. However, some places on the map look very dark, and when you combine that with tall and flat looking player models, battling against enemies becomes surprisingly difficult. The brightness is simply too low for you to see your enemy effectively, but not all hope is lost. If you increase the gamma aka brightness in the settings, things become visible again at the cost of the colors being washed out. So the problem with very low lighting is not its low brightness, but rather the dull, flat and bland colors that don't give you enough contrast. In addition, rim lights are completely removed. Without it, characters don't pop out as much, and I'd say it's harder to notice enemies without rim lights. Having that white outline-ish light just helps models pop out so much, and playing without it is not exactly optimal. Also, your weapon often looks very dark. When you compare the brightness of your weapon against the environment, the weapon often looks way too dim and out of place. It just doesn't look all that natural. Now, for the Ultra preset. Everything just looks so much more accurate. The map looks a decent bit more bright and vibrant, models now have rim lights, proper shading, and they're appropriately bright. They look so much more natural and they're so much more visible because of the rim lights. I mean, even without the lighting, the silhouettes of the models are still recognizable because that's by design, but the rim light is just the cherry on top that makes the graphics and aesthetics of this game ascend to another level. In darker places, such as this situation here, the demo still has that highlight that allows me to see them properly. The game's colors in general just have better contrast, and last but not least, the weapons look accurate when compared to the environment. They don't look too bright or too dark, and they look just right. Honestly, I don't have that much more to say except that it's good and it doesn't have many problems. So which preset should you use? Although lighting is important, in a game like TF2, performance is at a higher priority than graphics. What's the point of having accurate lighting when you have a laggy game? Therefore, you should choose the highest preset that you can without making the game run noticeably worse. The keyword here is noticeably, because your FPS will always increase if you use a lower setting, but an increase from 500 FPS to 600 really isn't all that noticeable, right? At that point, feel free to crank up the settings. In my opinion, for most people, I think medium is the sweet spot. It doesn't look too bad and it doesn't burn your PC. The best way to find the sweet spot for you is to experiment yourself, so do that right now. Hey, also, by the way, I've got some bonus commands for you. If you set both matte filter light maps and matte filter textures to 0, the map and textures will look very blocky. These commands don't really impact performance, so they're only used for playing Minecraft in TF2 as a joke. And I mean, if you're into blocky textures, you can use those commands as well. So that's all that I have to say about TF2's lighting. Like and subscribe, join the Discord server, link in description, and thank you for watching.